Hello, it is a dark episode for February the 7th, 2026. God damn it. Try and get my years right. Was my Friday. I am going to be off now. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 4 days, which is good, which is a nice little break. It's always good to have breaks. Especially if you get paid for those breaks and you're racking up tons and tons of vacation time that you can't basically use for anything of actual vacation. So take little mini breaks, chillax, review some books, read some books, the general stuff. Try and get some writing done. Try and finish the story, edit stories, submit stories. That's all good stuff. Yeah. Read some more Jack London today, which is very Jack London 1900 stuff. I was struck by the fact that the director, which did not really end up pulling itself out of the fire at the end, is kind of ended up a very kind of middlebrow, well-executed book, but just, meh. Nothing I'm going to particularly remember other than some of its historical details, though keeping in mind some of the glaring made-up bullshit that it's one of these things of using actual historical people. If I was a historical person and someone came along and made up a story that I'd used concentration camp prisoners in my movie because I just so needed the shot, I think I'd be a little butthurt. It's like, it's definitely, you shouldn't glorify people maybe, but you shouldn't also do, it was a fucking horrendous situation and deserves to be looked at as coldly and as carefully as possible. And I don't know if this was particularly careful. Don't know if it was particularly careful, if that makes sense. And this is not defending Paps, but it's just like there's like a very kind of when you make something like that up, it seems like you're making a very cheap, easy point about how some artists get so blinded that they'll trample over all morals to get to a story. I mean, the asshole director is not a very new thing, which is maybe why I start feeling like this is pretty trite, even though it did some really good job of portraying kind of that paranoia and fear, and also the kind of the glorying in power that mediocre, vengeful, shitty underclass, in some ways, people get out of something like fascism. So yeah, it's something to think about. It's a good book club book. I guess, because I could see people argue it. I would argue over it with people. That would be for sure. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I've mattered.